six-figure job, and I'll be taking us through. So Pastor has already done the honors to invite me today and to also read out. Sometimes when people are reading out your introduction, it's a bit like, what am I supposed to be doing? But we thank God for everything. As I said, my name is Ibiyemi Fasipe. I currently work as a senior business analyst, and I'm also the founder of Innovate Path Consulting Limited. So I would spend some time to just take us through how to position, some tips that I've shared with people that have worked, and I would also give us some next steps. If it's something you're interested in, if you follow the steps that I'll be sharing today, I'm sure within the next 6 months, you will definitely come here to share your testimony. Can I hear amen? Amen. All right, so please, if you can take me through. So tiny. Okay, so, why should you listen to me today? I've had the opportunity to do this a couple of times, get invited and just share what I've built and how people can also take it from there. So just to establish some credibility on why you have to listen to me today, my work has been featured in different publications to the glory of God, and we keep pressing on, we keep doing more, so that more people hear us and more people are empowered. Because as Pastor said, a lot of times when we move into these countries, it does look like we need to start from the beginning, and I don't know why. But when you have the information, when you are empowered, and you know what is absolutely possible, then you can press on, to succeed. So if you can take it to the next slide. All right, so a lot of people, when they hear six-figure earning, they actually believe that, I have to be an IT specialist, or I have to have some connections, or someone has to, put in some word for me before I can land six-figure jobs. Now, when you're doing a six-figure job, it's not every time you're earning, say, 100,000, 200,000 per year, because it's quite difficult in the UK for you to get to 200,000, unlike, America and Canada and the likes. But when you are earning per day rates, and then you combine everything, then you can earn six figures. So you don't need to be an IT specialist or someone that is like a developer, front end, full stack developer. You can do some non-coding jobs, which I'll be sharing with us today, and that can help you to open the doors to landing six figures in tech. So, can't see the slide well. So, no, sorry, move it to the previous one. Take it back. Yeah, previous one. Okay, so one thing I want to establish quickly is that as a six-figure earner, there are some levels that you need to put yourself in. So without thinking about, I want to earn six-figure, you need to understand, why would any company in their right thinking sense give you six-figure? You have to be someone that understands that a company wants to save money. So why do I want to bring you into my organization? It's because I need to save some money. Now, organizations have different projects that they build. I saw something yesterday that because of the war that is happening, there are some roles that would open up. People that know how to do risk mitigation, people that know how to foresee, that know how to use data to predict the future. Those kind of roles will open up. I was just, scrolling on Instagram and I saw that. And I actually agree with the person. Because one thing that people need to know is when there's crisis, it opens up the doors to a lot of things. So if you don't know how to position yourself and get yourself ready, you might think, it's not true. So many times when I speak to people, they think it's not true. Let me just continue what I'm doing. I'm looking for sponsorship. This role cannot sponsor me. And I ask them, do you understand why a company needs to bring you in? So number one, a company will bring you in because you need to save them some money. And I'm going to explain more about that. Now, another reason why another organization will want to bring you on board is to reduce the risk. This is very, very important. And there's no way you want to position as a project manager that you don't understand risk. It means that right now we're in 2026. You should be on a project and know some of the risks that will happen in 2027. So you need to understand how to see the future. And then another reason why, an organization will bring you on board is to deliver projects. This is one of the top reasons why, you go to Indeed, you go to some job boards, you see they're looking for 5 business analysts to pay them £500 per day. It's because some resource analysis have been done, some risk analysis have been done, and they realize that, We need extra hands. So this happens in our organization as well. We can be in the middle of a project and we realize that we don't have enough capacity. And we need these people urgently. And this opened the door to all these per day rates, and the likes. Because they don't want to spend so much time training and training. They need an expert and they are willing to pay the money. So that's it. You have to understand how to save money for the organization. When you're speaking to the interviewer, they need to see you as someone that understands how you can help the organization to save money, reduce the risk, deliver the project, and improve the systems that they have. Now, this one is very, very important. Organizations have stack of systems, and they bring you on board to improve those systems. There's no reason why you need a project manager or a business analyst, or even a data analyst if you don't have systems that you need to improve. So I will still go deeper into some of the things that I mentioned. If you please move to the next slide. Okay, so a lot of people apply blindly, and I'll explain why I said that. So you go to Indeed in the morning, you see Easy Apply. Does anyone know Easy Apply here? Easy Apply. So I always tell people, just forget Easy Apply. Because so many people will just go to LinkedIn in the morning, Easy Apply, 50 jobs. And they just apply. How about you apply for 3 jobs, but you sit down and spend a minimum of 2 hours, and you tailor your CV, tailor your personal statement. I'm not talking about going to ChatGPT to say, write me my CV, no. I'm talking about opening the job description and tailoring your CV and your personal statement to the job description. If you do this instead of Easy Apply, you definitely get feedback in a very short while. But because of, the fast life and everything, you just do Easy Apply and then you're over onto the next things. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So you need to understand the 6-figure positioning. If you want to land a 6-figure job, the first step is, what roles should I position myself? Should I just go to Indeed or LinkedIn or all these job boards? No. I need to first position myself. The roles that would definitely sponsor me, the roles that would definitely give me an opportunity to earn, not 20,000 pounds, not 30,000 pounds, to earn way more than that. So the positioning is very, very important. So I'm going to be talking about 3 career paths that we can use to position ourselves for 6-figure earning potentials. So let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, so the first one is project management. Now, as a project manager, you're a leader. I always tell people that want to end up going into public speaking, for example, project management is a very good place to start because you cannot hide. You have to be that person that is confident. Even if you're not confident, it will come out. You can't pretend. I remember we had one project manager one time, and I did sense that this guy wasn't confident. And I knew he wasn't going to last on the job. Within a couple of weeks, months, the product manager started complaining, she wanted this confidence. So as a project manager, you would build confidence, and it will stay with you if you really, really want to build confidence. Okay, so as a project manager, what do? You manage timelines, you coordinate people, you manage risk, and you ensure delivery. These 4 buckets, that is where everything sits. And when you go to an interview, they want to see you understand the meaning of a timeline. It means that there's a new project that we need to do between maybe January 2026 to July 2026. As a project manager, do you understand what you need to be doing from January to July? Because if the project is not delivered at the time it's supposed to be delivered, then you are no longer a project manager. Because there are 3 key things you do as a project manager: the time, the scope, and the budget. These are your 3 buckets that sits with you. So if you do not manage these 3 things well, or even if you come to an interview and I'm seated there and I don't see these 3 things shining through your answers, then I'll assume you don't know the job of project management. So these 3 things are your key buckets in project management. Now, some of the tools or methodologies you need to understand if you truly want to position yourself. One thing I like about project management is that anybody can do it. Like literally anybody. And it has a very great starting point. If you don't want to go to senior roles immediately, you can start from project coordinator, project support, delivery support. And these roles are heavily sought after in the civil service, in the NHS, or even in private organizations. So you need to position yourself. Now, some people might say, oh, I'm not yet confident. I don't want to go for project manager. I want to start, Then I say, okay, start from there because it's a good place to start. And within the next years, you start building yourself and, improving yourself in your career. So project delivery, Jira, Confluence, your MS projects, Agile, Scrum methodologies, all these things on the screen are things you need to master. You master these things, you go to the interview, you speak like a project manager. Now, I'll give us a quick story of what I normally tell some people. So before I moved to the UK, I used to work in aviation. I worked in aviation for about 8 years. And I would see that they were building projects, but I wasn't building projects. But I would see people come into the office, ask questions, and I always wondered what they were doing. So when I eventually understood business analysis and project management, and I realized that, oh, these guys were doing these things. So I called one of the guys that used to work in the tech team at that time. And he himself told me that even me, I didn't know I was doing all these things. It was when I moved to the UK, I realized that, wow, I'm sitting on a lot of experience. So every time I walked into an interview, I always put myself in the shoes of the guy. He would come to ask questions. He would bring a software. We would test the software. We'll give them feedback, all these things. So I always tell people there's something you've done that you need to really remember. Some people will go to interviews in the morning, they'll use ChatGPT, give me 5 answers, they'll cram the answer, they don't even understand what they are talking about. And your interviewer can see through you that you don't know what you're talking about. They'll think you're talking like a robot. So instead of cramming answers, try to understand what is this role about and how can I position myself. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to speak. Sometimes they're not even checking for your technical knowledge. They're checking for the way you talk, your interpersonal relationship, the way you smile, the way you do things. Because project management is all about people. You're managing human beings every single day. So as a project manager, if you're already a people person, if you're someone that you get along with people, then you can absolutely succeed, in project management. Okay, let's move to the next slide. So like I said previously, project management has a great starting point. You can move from coordinator to PM, to senior PM, program manager, and program director. And, the list just goes on from there. And there's great salary progression as well in project management. All right, so let's go. So the next one I want to talk about is business analysis. And I always tell people this one is my baby because this one is what I do. But I understand project management extremely as well, and that's like an advantage for business analysts as well. When you understand project management, you can succeed in business analysis. So business analysis is a bit more technical than project management, but it is a great starting point as well. So as a BA, what do? There's a software. So imagine the church here right now, and we want to build a new software to manage attendance and all of that. So as a BA, what am I going to do? I will speak to some members of the church and ask them, what do they think? How would they want to see this system? So I'm going to collect, we call it requirements. But what the requirement just means is I'm asking questions and I'm getting answers that will feed into the software. Now, the UK, US, and Canada, these countries, they are very much user-centric. What does that mean? We're building systems for the people. So you don't want to build a system where people use it and just very poor interface. So when you go to companies like the NHS, for example, they have a lot of systems that they need to shut down. And that's why they keep hiring these people. Because previously in the history of business analysis, companies would just get a developer and the person that needs the software and say, I want a software. Developer will go and build it. And then it comes back and is not really fit for purpose. So the NHS especially, they have a lot of legacy systems. Legacy systems mean that they've been using the systems for a long time and it has poor UI UX. So now they spend so much money in bringing people together to build systems that would work. So some of us might remember 2020 when there was COVID. They had to quickly build a software to collect data so that they know when you need to come in for tests and all of those things. So that quick fix was actually done by project teams that includes BAs, PMs, product managers, and the likes. So this particular situation we're in right now, with this whole, Iran and all of that, would create a lot of jobs because a lot of things will need to be built, and we all need to position so that we also take our own parts, of the budget. So we need to position ourselves correctly because these organizations are hiring people. Someone called me 2 days ago to say, oh, they're looking for, I think it was 21 project managers or something in the civil service. So they're looking for people. But unfortunately, some of our people, they don't prepare for the interviews. And when they go to the interviews, they are cramming answers. They don't know what to say. And it's kind of putting a taint, I'll just be honest, on us. So we need to set ourselves apart. You go to an interview, you do preparation like your life depends on it, literally. I tell people, how bad do you want it? It depends on how bad you want it. Then you prepare yourself and position yourself, correctly. Okay, so I'll just run through what we do as BAs. So we gather requirements, like I said. You collect the feedback from the people, and that forms your requirement. We analyze business problems. This one is very important. There's no reason why they need a BA if there's no problem. And when I say problem, it doesn't mean that the bridge is falling down. I mean that there's delay. Maybe customer service is complaining. There's a lag somewhere. Processes are not being optimized. So then they need people that can help to understand the problems. So sometimes as a BA, you don't even have to do anything software. All you're doing is understanding business problems, mapping out the solutions and all of that. So you improve processes and you support decision making. There are a lot of fintech and banks, especially in London, that hire a lot of BAs and product managers. Now, as a business analyst, you can also position as a product manager. If you just add like 1 or 2 extra things, then you can position yourself. So like I did for the PM, there are some tools you need to learn. Requirements, this is very important. This is like the key in your role. So they want to see that you understand what requirements are all about. You do process mapping, UAT. When I say UAT, I mean user acceptance testing. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm dropping some buzzwords here, but user acceptance testing. So like for the church we talked about, we finished building the software, pastor approves the software to manage attendance and all of that. Then we bring it to the people and say, can you use this software? What do you think about it? So that is user acceptance testing. All right, and the final thing there is stakeholder management. This one is very important. Stakeholder means all of you here as the church members, if I'm contracted to build this software, you are my stakeholders. So I have to make sure that you're well informed, you're not confused. Because if I deliver the software and it's rubbish, you'll be the first people to say, no, why did you give this person money? So we always take care of our stakeholders. And this stakeholder thing is very huge in companies. Because you can imagine a company like the civil service. We have stakeholders, across the world. You have senior people that have been there for 40 years. And those people are extremely difficult to handle. So stakeholder management is very key in your role as a business analyst. Okay, let's move to the next slide, please. All right, so the final one here is data analysis and business intelligence. One thing I tell people is, for data analysis, if you don't have time, like that means you can't focus a minimum of 2 hours per day, then don't bother. Because it requires you to understand how to analyze data. Every company wants to use data to make decisions. We don't just make decisions because we feel like it. We make decisions because the data is telling us the way to go. So as a data analyst, you analyze trends, you build dashboards, and you support decision making based on the data. So data analysis is a great place as well. You learn Excel, SQL, Power BI, Python, Tableau. There's a lot of tools, for data analysis. So all of the roles that I've mentioned, anybody can transition into them. And if I would pick them from, hardest to simplest, project management is the simplest, business analysis and data analysis is the hardest, because when you go for an interview as a data analyst, they'll give you data. So it's not like, oh, I know it. They'll tell you to show them. So you have to prove that you can do it. So that's the hardest. But it can reward you if you spend some time, to learn it. Okay, so let's go on. You don't need to become a software developer to earn in tech, because nowadays AI tools can build a software in 5 minutes if you know the right prompts to put in it. So I'm sure within the next couple of years, software developers, they would have to start looking for other things to do because AI can do what they do if you know how to do it. You can build websites, you can build softwares, you can build an app with AI right now. So AI tools, the companies also need project managers and business analysts. So that's why that role would never go. People say, oh, AI is going to take the job. No, I don't believe it's going to take the job because they need people to speak to people, and AI cannot speak to people unless they want to build softwares that human beings cannot use. So AI companies are also hiring these roles every single day. Okay, let's go. Okay, so how can you land these jobs that I've just talked about? So most people might think, oh, I learned the role within 3 months. Some people even say you can learn these roles in 6 weeks. I'm like, okay, let's see how it goes. So you need to spend some time. When you're on Instagram and someone says learn it in 4 weeks, it's just a lie. You can't learn it in 4 weeks. You can't learn it in 6 weeks. You have to spend considerable amount of time to learn, and then think about your visibility. You can build visibility on LinkedIn. You don't have to become a content creator for you to build visibility. Nowadays, hiring managers go to LinkedIn to find you, to headhunt you, to send you messages. Oh, I saw this, I saw that. Are you interested? So you need to at least build a level of visibility, credibility as well. That's building your portfolio. So every project you do, you put it in your portfolio, your evidence, interview, and then you'll be looking to land an offer if you dedicate the right amount of time. I always recommend that, as you're learning, what are you learning? Put it on LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least you're visible, and if someone is looking for you, they can find you. Okay, so let's go. So I'll just run through some ways you can position yourself. The first thing is LinkedIn. If you don't have a job at the moment and you're desperate and you have open to work there, after this session, please go and remove it. I always tell people, but they find it very funny. You know when you're on LinkedIn and it says you're open to work, you don't need that. It shows that you're desperate. So there's a way you can show you're open to work without putting the banner. You can do it hidden, and recruiters know that you're open to work, but then you don't look, desperate. And of course, on LinkedIn, there are some things you need to do there. You need to have a nice thing on the top. What are you? For example, as a project manager, what do you do? Are you a delivery manager? Do you understand Agile? So like 5 things on LinkedIn. You need to have a nice banner as well. Behind your LinkedIn, you have like a banner. There's so many people. That thing is empty at the moment. Put a nice banner there, and it's interesting for people to look at. Okay, so let's go on. And then you have your about section as well. What do you need to put in the about section? Keep it simple. Who are you? And when I say who are you, it's not like you have to put, things, personal things. It's about who you are based on the role you want to position for. What problems do you solve? Organizations like to see you problem solution. So what problems do you solve? What tools do you use? This is very important. And what outcomes? And when you're doing the outcomes, you need to quantify it. 30% increase in what? 50% increase in what? So you need to spend some time. And if you use AI to do it, it's going to sound like every other person. So you need to, AI can help you to start something, but you need to humanize it. Because most people can see through this AI thing that everybody's using AI to, write their about us. So if your LinkedIn is weak, you might be invisible. So I want you to spend some time on your LinkedIn profile. Like I said, the banner, a nice picture. You can use Canva to do a nice picture. Nowadays, you don't even need a photographer. You can just use Canva. Put a nice banner, about us section, your headline. And it's good to go. And just keep going. It might not happen in the first month, second month, but, as long as you're invisible, then anything can happen. Okay? Now, if you're looking for, PMBA roles, there are some skills that, they will be looking at. If you're looking for a project manager role, you don't need to always search project manager. You can actually go on a job board and search risk management, because there's so many roles that they need project management skills, but they don't call the role project manager. So every time you're searching for project manager and you're limited, So you can search by the job title, even on LinkedIn as well. Use agile, stakeholder management, risk management, delivery, and then the BA as well, and then the data. Search with keywords. When you search with keywords, it can open up some jobs that everyone else is not seeing. So this is very, very important. Even on the civil service websites, on the NHS website, use the keywords to search for the jobs, and you'll find them faster, instead of using project manager or business analyst to search for the jobs. So one thing I tell people as well is, if you want to earn six figure, let's be honest, NHS, for you to earn six figure with the NHS, you have to be like a senior. You cannot come as a entry level and expect to earn six figure. So there are some industries that will pay you six figures. So if that's what you want, then you need to position correctly. Position on those industries. And I'll just quickly talk us through some of those industries that you can position yourself. Public sectors are good. Where you're looking for work-life balance, then public sector is good. But if it's money that you're after, then you need to look into the private sector, because they are more likely to pay you that money you're looking for. But if you're an experienced person, then the public sector would pay you as well. Okay? So let's just talk through a few of the industries. So when you look at the fintech and the financial services, they are likely to give you six figures. And a lot of them are in London. A lot of them are not even in the UK. They would still hire you. You can be living in the UK, you're working predominantly remote, and they are in Europe or France or other countries. So this is very, very possible. So Revolut, Monzo, Barclays, HSBC, Goldman Sachs, and the other companies I've listed on the screen. There's a lot of them like that. When you go to a shop and you need to pay, there's this POS they use. It's called Dojo. Dojo is also likely to pay you. In fact, if you go on Dojo's website, most of the roles you see there are six figures. Product managers, business analysts, six figures. So fintech industries are likely to pay you because they've got the money, they've got the numbers. And a lot of companies and organizations use them to facilitate payments. Okay? Now, other strong sectors as well, we have the consulting sectors, and we have the health tech as well. SaaS, that's software as a service. We have energy and government digital transformation. So a lot of government digital transformation normally bring in contractors. They always use contractors to deliver their projects. So that's another area you can look at. So if you go to, there's something we call the DDATs. So DDAT, that's what the UK's government digital use to deliver projects. So if you put in some time to understand what DDAT means, then you will be able to speak more as someone that understands public digital projects. So again, these things are things that you find by research, put in some extra efforts to actually position yourself. If you put in extra time, I promise you that you would definitely come back to share your testimony here. Okay? So based on everything I've talked about, I like to give people like next steps, because it's something to talk. Some people have sweet mouths. You can talk. So what should I do now that I've heard all of these things? What are my technical steps that I can take to position myself, for these roles? So I have something that I call the 10-10-10 execution framework. All right, so the step one that I want you to do is to first think about the industries that you want to work for. If your strategy is only, I go to LinkedIn, I go to Indeed, I go to CV Library, it's going to take some time for you to land a job, because a lot of companies no longer put their jobs on job boards. It's very expensive to run recruitment on a job board. So if you're not checking the organization's websites, then you're just positioning yourself correctly. So the first step is, okay, I want to become this. This is the role I want to position for. What are the industries that I should be targeting? So pick like 10 industries that you want to target. And then identify 10 companies in those industries and go hard on those 10 companies. Forget the job boards. If you do this, you are likely to get called. Now, another extra tip I can give is, you find the company, you've applied, go to LinkedIn, look for the people that work in the company, look for their names, and send them emails. Introduce yourself. What's the worst they can say? They will not reply you. But by the time you message like 10 people, one person will reply you. You know, I've done that before. Message people on LinkedIn, introduce myself, show my credibility, and the fact that I have applied for this role. What does it look like to work here? Some people would even send you a Zoom link and have a conversation with you. So it all depends on the person that you're emailing. So it's very important. Choose 10 industries, 10 companies, and go hard on them. Now, strategic applications. If you are applying on the job websites, forget about spray and pray. Just apply randomly and then get into prayer. God is always available to help, but we also need to put in our efforts. So tailor your CV. The keywords on the job description should be tailored to your CV and your personal statement. There are even a lot of AI tools today like Job Scan. You can put in the job description, put in your CV, put in your personal statement, and ask the AI, how likely am I to be called for this interview? So we need to put in an extra effort in tailoring our CV, personal statements, and just keep going consistently. Consistency is what will do the job, basically. So the more effort we put in, the more we are likely to be successful in our job application. Okay, let's go. So just to say that, people that are earning 6 figures, I always look at it that they don't have 2 heads. We all have 1 head. They just put in extra efforts. If you are trying to become something, you just need to put in extra effort. So the amount of time you spend, so say you apply for 10 jobs and you spent time this week, next week you did the same thing. Throughout the month of March, there's no way you will not get called for an interview by the next month, which is April. So we just need to position ourselves correctly, and the rest is history. The very first job that I landed in the UK was actually a job paying per day. And I remember when I was rounding off my studies, and a lot of people were saying, they need to learn, sponsorship and all these things. This is the only place that can give sponsorship. I was like, really? How can it be that it's only this place that can give sponsorship? So I just went back and positioned myself correctly. And after applying to so many jobs, in the UK, unfortunately, it's a common recipe. You apply, you get unfortunately. But then there's just one lucky email that comes in. What do you do with that lucky email? Is what you've been doing in the preparation that would help you to secure that lucky email after a lot of unfortunates. So we just need to put in enough effort, to actually land 6 figures. All right, so within the next 90 days, this is something that we can do. Choose a path. Is it project management? Is it business analysis? Is it data analysis? Now, your own path might not be one of this. But if you really want to land a job fast, you see cybersecurity is nice, but it's not as easy. The way people say you can just get it. It's not as easy as project management and business analysis. There are other things that you can do, compliance, risk analyst, and all that. But you need to choose a path that you are likely to get into. This is the most important thing. Choose the correct path. Or else you will spend 6 months and then you come back again and try to choose another path. So look at the easiest, the most likely that you're able to get into, and then build proof. So you can simulate projects. There are so many things we do in the church that is like a project that you can use in your interviews. One thing about UK interviewers is that they like stories and they like to see that you're experienced. So there's so many things you do every single day that is like a project that you can use in your interviews if you know how to position it correctly, if you know the right language. So you go to an interview, there are some language you need to speak in. If you don't speak in those languages, it will look as if you don't know, what you're saying, even if you have experience. So you have to identify at least 100 buzzwords in the path you've chosen and speak in that language. Then you're more likely to, get the job. Position correctly and apply strategically. The proof is very important as well. You can go to Canva, you can search portfolio. When you put portfolio on Canva, you see a lot of portfolio examples. and you can tailor it to the specific role that you're looking for. Okay? I think I'm nearly done. So what proof should you put in your CV? I just want to show us a quick UK CV, because this is where you actually stand out. You don't need to have a CV that is more than 2 pages. Even if you have 20 years of experience, there are some experiences that don't matter. So for example, maybe you currently work as a healthcare assistant, for example, and you want to position into project management. Your CV should not say anything about healthcare. That's one thing about the UK. They just want to see you are a master at something. So even though you've done 10 years of healthcare, I'm sorry, you have to forget about it. Unless you can position it correctly, but it should not say you are a healthcare assistant, because they will not even call you for the interview. So that's just how the system, you have to beat the system. So some people will say, are you telling me to lie? It's not lie, it's positioning. Because if you put that you're a healthcare assistant for 10 years and you have 1 month of experience in project management, they will not call you. So you have to position correctly. When you are in Rome, what do? You act like a Roman. So yeah, you have to position correctly. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So there are different things you can put in your portfolio, if you're looking for one of these roles, from project plan to anything that says scope, timeline, risk. So when you see RAID means risk, assumption, issues, and dependencies. That's the short form of RAIDs. So this one is very important. Every project manager I have seen, there's no way they will not ask you about risk. How do you handle risk? How do you handle issues? How do you handle dependencies? So you need to understand that. Process map, anything that shows efficiency, business requirement documents, problems, goals, requirements. You just need to understand, okay, the people that are doing these roles, what do they do on a day-to-day? Okay, this is what they do. How can I position myself this way? Then these things need to be in your portfolio, your CV, and you try as much as possible for your personal statement, write it in the STAR methodology. Does anybody know STAR here? Yeah, so situation, task, action, results. So some people think it's only in the interview they need to, use the STAR. Yes, you need to use the STAR. And if you're going for NHS, you need to add the extra R, which is the reflection. Very important if you're going for NHS interview. So in your personal statement, instead of just doing it anyhow, follow the STAR. What was the situation? What was the task you had to do? The action and the results on your personal statement. It should not be more than 1 page so that it's likely to get in. Okay? So this is just an example of your CV. Like I said, 2 pages is okay. It's okay to show that you can do the job. So you must show how you save time. As a project manager, what do? We do projects. And why are we doing projects? Because we want to optimize a process. So we must save time, either by hours, by months, or something. We must show that. You must also show how you reduce errors, how you improve turnaround time, revenue. One thing I tell people is, you've done a project before. You have to write the amount. You delivered a 5 million project. That alone shows your capacity. So you have to, don't be scared. People are like, how will I put 5 million? When I get there, how am I going to talk? You talk like a project manager that has seen a big budget before. So capacity is very, very important when you are positioning yourself for any role in the UK. Even healthcare nowadays, the interview is hard. So nothing is easy. You still have to position yourself correctly. Okay? So what can you do from tomorrow if this is something you're interested in? Rewrite your CV if you need to. Build a tracker. I always like it when you build a tracker because it shows you what is working and what's not working. So everything I do, I build a tracker. And you can even use ChatGPT to build a tracker. Hi, ChatGPT. I am applying as a project manager. Can you give me a tracker that I can use to land a job? Within the next 5 seconds, it will give you a tracker. And then you add the companies in there. You apply it on the 1st of March. You've not heard anything. It doesn't matter. Go to the next company. It shows you what's working and what's not working. So build a tracker, on any, like an Excel or Google Sheets. And then you can also research one company as well and position yourself as a problem to the company and post it on your LinkedIn page. You can also send 3 recruiters cold DMs. Let me quickly tell us how to find recruiters on LinkedIn. So when you go to your LinkedIn, there's a search bar. If you're looking for a BA role, put business analyst there. And don't go to jobs, go to posts. When you go to posts, you see some recruiters that say, hi, I'm looking for 5 business analysts. Hi, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. Then you send them cold DMs. Because a lot of them, they don't post that job. Especially if they really need a BA urgently, they put it on the post. So it's more like by recommendation. So, send recruiters DMs, apply to roles strategically like we've spoken today. Prioritize your star stories. Speak to yourself, record yourself, go to the mirror like you're in an interview. Keep doing it perfect until you feel very confident. And keep reviewing your tracker, keep adding your proof of work, keep doing projects as much as possible. AI can even give you a project that you can do. Then you get the template and you do it. It all depends on the time they are willing to contribute to your job search. Okay? And networking is so important. If you can go to tech events, go on Eventbrite. There are a lot of tech events they do in London, and a lot of recruiters come, company CEOs, they're all there. So you just position yourself, send cold DMs, ask people to refer you. Your friend works here, and they're looking for this. Ask people to refer you. Someone from my church applied to a role in my company, and she reached out to me. She applied for a product manager role. She reached out to me to say, oh, I've gotten an interview in your company. I said, oh, that's interesting. So I told her the things that she needs to say. Then I also linked her up with another product manager that works there. Within 1 week, she said she got the job. Why? Because she had inside knowledge, and she knew what she needs to say. So referrals are very important. Don't look down on it. People working in this company, because they are inside, they understand how it works inside. So don't be scared to reach out to people. And LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn is very powerful. If you know how to use LinkedIn, it's very, very powerful. So you can use LinkedIn to, position yourself as well. Okay, so I think this is my final slide, just to say that God can open doors, but you have to show up prepared, for the door. So.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ibiyemi, for this beautiful presentation. I believe we are all blessed. Yeah, you can have your seat. People will be asking questions very soon. Particularly, I think I gain a lot of things, from this teaching. I learned a lot of things. Let me just quickly add something. When you are going for an interview, please, one of the things you also need to, how you position yourself well, is the kind of questions you ask. If you don't ask the right questions, your interviewers, they also want to learn from you. They are not looking for somebody they will train. They are looking for somebody that will train them. That has stuff they are looking for. So, and if you begin to ask some questions that were like, oh my God, you already lost the job. One day I was trying to build something from China, and I went on Alibaba. Alibaba is, I'm just trying to teach you something here. Then I posted that I'm looking for somebody that can build this for me. Then about 6 of them came. They were chatting with me. All of them were chatting with me, and I needed to deal with all of them because I need to choose one who will build it for me. Some of them were trying to, introduce themselves. They were trying to tell me, what they have done. I was just looking at it. Then one of them came back, just said, what do you want to achieve? And that captivated my attention. Okay, and I began to chat with him. This is what I want to achieve. And then by the time I presented that, he said to me, you don't need this, you don't need it. These are the things you need. And then we began to chat. I started gaining from what he was telling me. Then I knew immediately that he knows exactly what he's doing. So the rest of them, I just put them away. That's how you can position yourself very well. Asking the right question. The first question he asked me made me to understand that he knew exactly what he's doing. Have I pushed out something? Okay. Anybody with questions? Number one? Number two? Okay, I know sometimes question beget questions. Okay, Deacon Roger. A microphone?
Hello. Good presentation. Thank you for what you've talked to us about.
Please, when we are asking question, please let's put the microphone close to our mouth, because the last one we did, people were struggling to hear us online, and they complained a lot. Yeah.
What I would like to ask is, how would you motivate people here to join this?
Business analyst?
Yeah,
analysis?
to become a business analyst. I'm sure there are most people here who are in the health sector and so on. Now, are you asking them to, or would you advise them to go into courses that would lead to this field, or just decide to apply for such roles? Because I think it would be quite difficult to come from a medical background and then just decide to start applying for these jobs. It's not going to be that easy.
Okay, before you answer, do you actually know, because I went to your page, and I realized that she used to work as a carer before she positioned herself as a business analyst. So let me let you carry on.
Yeah, I always share that on my social media to motivate people that it doesn't matter where you're starting from. Most times, if you don't have information, you start in the wrong place, but you have to quickly, get out of the wrong place. So to specifically answer his question, I'm not expecting that you just start applying. You have to pass through some kind of training, or like a hands-on practical training. That way, they help you and position you correctly. So if you are just doing healthcare now, you say you want to become a project manager, you just start applying. You are likely not to be successful. So you need to pass through boot camps that would position you. You do projects, one or more, or two projects that you do that would position you, and that's how you would then go to the interview and speak, like a project manager or as a business analyst. Yeah.
I believe one of the things people would like to know is, how can they be trained? Am I getting that? How can they be trained? Can you point them to a direction where they can be trained? I know you also train people anyway.
Yeah, I train people, but most times I don't like to. I'm not trying to do sales, so I don't really say, "Oh, come and do training." But yeah, I train people. And that's how it's helped them stay motivated. They join a training platform. They meet people like themselves. When they have interviews, we have one-to-one conversations that helps them to prepare for the interviews correctly. So yes, I do train people. And I think part of the next slide was like my barcode to follow me on social media.
One of the things we do, we cannot start training you for just one day event. We can only pack together informations that you will need. But people like this can actually train you. It can take you maybe 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months. At least if you are persistent, you can be trained. So if you enroll with them. Okay. Deacon Roger, is your question answered? Okay. The next, Mr. Babafemi.
Thank you very much. Mine is just, but I don't know if it's a digression or I'm just looking at the realistic. Okay, so let me just put it in one word. Is it possible in reality that healthcare, career healthcare people can end up earning 6 figures? True to.
Yes.
I'm not healthcare,
yeah.
but I'm speaking for them because I'm looking at the bigger picture now. What is the chance on a scale of 1 to 10 that healthcare path can end you 6 figures.
So when you say healthcare path, I'm not talking about that path, because if you are doing healthcare, then it's not likely, unless you you transition yourself to healthcare tech or something. But as a healthcarer, you are on the bottom of it. You're going to be earning. It's a low-skilled job. It's not a high-skilled job. Yeah.
Okay. Were you answered? Okay. All right. Okay. Any other question from? Okay.
You mentioned that we shouldn't write in our CV that you're working as a healthcare assistant. So if you came into the country with a healthcare visa and you want to do this kind of job, what do you do with your CV?
So first, you say you came in as a healthcare visa. Unless you want to, some people move from healthcare visa and then they get a job in tech. So I know someone that she was in a sponsorship with the NHS as a healthcare assistant. I think it was like a senior healthcare assistant in Birmingham. She moved into data analysis within the NHS. So she was able to get a sponsorship as a data analyst within the NHS. So now to your question, yes, don't write healthcare because you are likely not to be successful in it. But that's why if you do a boot camp, so what we do is when you do a boot camp, the time you spend with us, maybe 3-4 months, that will be added on your CV. We do reference for people, for any company. So you have to position as a business analyst with our consulting firm, and that will show that you've been a project manager at least for 3 months.
What have you been doing in the UK?
No.
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 I'm just asking.
No, nobody would. Nobody. When you go for interviews, it's because as black people, we always don't trust people enough. But most times, they don't ask you questions like, what have you been doing? Your CV will be positioned to show what you have been doing. So that's not something you need to worry about. That's part of what we do. We show your CV to show what you've been doing. Some people have been working in banks, in Nigeria, for example. We don't lose all of that experience. We add those experience and try to bring out project management out of them. Yeah.
That's why when you get to an interview, probably the first question they will ask you is, tell me about yourself. So, and it now depends on how you want to tell them about yourself. So you need to sell yourself at that point. It depends on what you have on your CV. I always tell people that whatever you know you cannot defend, don't put it on your CV. Yes. Because that was what they saw before they call you for an interview. And they really want to hear about it. Okay. Any other question? Okay. Our senior lawyer wants to answer the question.
Praise God. I just want to ask, the training you do, I know you do PM and BA, right? But do you do risk analysis, risk management? And I'm asking for myself actually because I believe risk management and risk analysis is part of what I already do in my job. So I'm just trying to look for like part-time job. But like a skill I can transfer from my,
Yeah. So because you said you're a lawyer, it makes sense for you to transition into compliance. So we don't do compliance, but I know people that do compliance that I can refer you to. Yeah.
Any other question? I hope you are clear. Good. Any other question from? Okay. That's Sister Fumi there.
Praise the Lord. So if someone needs to do all those trainings now, how long do you think to take the person to get it? For example, you are already in line because I've done the training for 6 weeks for data analysis. I work as an accountant now. So I looked at myself after the training. I didn't really get anything really.
You're not ready.
Yes. So if you want to advise me with the experience that I have already, how long do you think it would take me to go in there? Thank you.
Okay, so you said you're an accountant, so you should be looking at things like financial analysis, financial planning. So combining skills like Excel, SQL, Python, Power BI and all of that as a data analyst. But 6 weeks is not enough to learn those tools, definitely. So they told you learn it in 6 weeks. No, it's not possible. Yeah. No.
So they made you to think that you're a dollar, right? Well, you also need to be there. You also need to be realistic sometimes when you are going into some things, because those guys want to get money. They just want to attract you that, within 6 weeks, we get you on. We prepare you. And we'll do a CV for you. Ask questions. You need to also see reference of who they have trained before. So you need to look for all those areas. Otherwise, you will fall into their trap. Yeah? Any other question? Okay.
To be, when I was talking, I said something. Data analysis, you have to be honest with yourself. Do you have time? If you cannot dedicate 2 hours to play with data, you can get a lot of data. You can get Netflix data, NHS data on the web. 5 months, 4 months, depending on how dedicated you are, if you can spend maybe like 5 hours per day, then it will reduce the timeline. But you have to be honest with yourself. Because I'm sure that when you were doing the training, how many hours were you doing personal study? So you have to spend desk time to learn data analysis, because when you go to the interview, they will test you. They will give you the data. It's not like I can do. They will say, show us what you can do. So at least give yourself like 3 to 5 months. Depending on the time you spend, then that would reduce the curve as well.
Great stuff. Any other question? Okay.
Because my own question is in the area of, like, if you don't want to do PM or BA, but you want to do something in marketing, can you make recommendations, please?
Sister Imole has asked me this question before. So if you want to go into marketing, you have to understand which marketing do you want to go into, which one is sought after in the UK. So we have digital marketing, for example. You need to position yourself. It also applies to the whole project management and business analysis. What industries are likely to hire me? Is it media? You need to find out the industries that want you. Then go to LinkedIn. Which roles are in marketing? Because marketing is huge. So you have to understand the sector you want to focus on. And then that will help you to position correctly. So I know that I'm owing her something, because she asked me this question before. So I'll send you a roadmap that you can follow.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Any other question? Okay. So, and then online media, is anybody asking question from online so that we can also attend to that? Maybe we can read it out. Can we quickly check online if somebody is asking question? Okay, if there is no one asking question online, I think that comes to the end of it. It is a great thing that, it's obvious that you guys have gained a lot by posting questions across today. Okay, the next thing we are going to be doing is to do an evaluation of this event today. So it's already there. So what you need to do, you help us to improve in what we have done today. And so what you need to do is to scan the code. Scan the code, and it will take you to about 5 questions. All you need to do is just to tick, and give your recommendation. So please position your phone and scan it, everyone. Let's hear your views. This is very important for the next session.